Okay, we got what happens to capitalism when none of us have any capital left. Oh boy. From ya boy Fads.
Wealth inequality could be a major driver of societal collapse within the next decade. This
Oh
is the
shit.
headline statement of a report
Societal collapse. I'm society. I could collapse. God damn it.
that's been published by King's College London, which is a pretty prestigious university in the UK. They gathered a panel of like 25 academics, researchers, and like policy professionals who unanimously agreed that wealth inequality could collapse society in the space of a decade. If you haven't actually been paying attention to
I mean, this is great. I was gonna make a joke, but it's just not coming to me.
inequality statistics, which most people don't. I just want to show you some headline stats. So in 2024,
Billionaire wealth surges by 2 trillion. Dang, in 2024. The rich get richer.
Wealth surged by $2 trillion. This is 3 times faster than 2023, which
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody remembers the graph that looks like this. Bang, bang. Oh, the graph. He got the graph again. Oh, you always got to do the graph. It's like, oh, how egregious do I want to make it? Let's make it kind of realistic. I mean, oh, where the graph going? Where the graph going? Oh, where it going? Is it still going? It can go even more. Ah. Everybody remembers that graph. This is the rich. They get richer. This is the poor. They stay poor. It would take a poor person 10,000 lifetimes to get lucky, just as lucky as any one of these people. There's no way you're going to convince me that anybody over here is not lucky, and this person is this many exponentially times smarter, better, faster, stronger, whatever times better than anybody down here. There's just absolutely no way.
which on its own is quite an insane number. And if you look at the percentage of people in poverty in the US, it's remained basically unchanged over the last 50 plus years. There is one statistic that I think really captures the idea of like how people feel at large by the Pew Research Center, who asked people in a range of different countries whether they thought kids would be better off than their parents. And the conclusion was,
oh, wait, globally, most think children will be worse off financially than their parents. Oh. Uh-oh. Some percentage who say that when children in their country grow up, they will be, whatever that is, financially, worse financially than their parents, or better financially than their parents. Oh, it's like a blank. Worse off than their parents, or better off financially than their parents.
Globally, most think that children will be worse off than their parents. And it's not even close. In Canada, almost 4 in 5 people think that their kids are going to be worse off than their parents.
This is crazy. Holy. Look at this percentage, dude, on like US. 26%, the topmost percent, gonna be better off? That's what you guys think? I mean, you could easily tell where all the rich people are residing.
Parents. France, it's over 80%, and you can see all of these countries hover around 75 to 80%. It's a level of pessimism that, depending on who you are, would have been pretty unfathomable in, say, the 1970s or even in the 1990s. And as per the report that I mentioned, it isn't just a matter of us getting poorer, but it's actually like a serious collapse risk. And this specific report actually focuses mainly on the UK.
Oh, wow. This is recent. January 26th, 2025.
Okay. But I think what they found can be generalized. There are also countries with incredibly high levels of inequality that are serving as a little bit of like a canary in the coal mine, a predictor of where things are already headed. And I want us to focus mainly on one particular aspect that I think is super important, a feedback loop where inequality can affect politics and politics can affect inequality.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, he's gonna break that down, but like just knee jerk. I mean, for a report, I think he said how robust it was in the beginning. I mean, I don't know how many participants there were, or like where exactly they were pulled from. I mean, because all of that stuff does matter. I mean, obviously, if you were to do a survey like this in New York, it's going to be different than like you do the same survey in Florida or something, or like a rich city versus a poor city. It just matters. All these things matter. Like your location matters. Like what your family's past matters. Like, does your family have a family business, family car dealership? You know, all this stuff matters. It does. Because if it didn't matter, why is there an issue?
In this way that does nothing but make living standards worse for people. The feedback loop that they describe proceeds as follows. So you start off with a public service that experiences a shortfall in revenue, right? The state doesn't have enough money to offer the public services that it usually does. As the ultra wealthy have gotten wealthier and wealthier.
Okay, let me read this. In 2018, the super rich, what does that mean? Super rich, paid a lower tax rate than the bottom 50%. Okay, average effective tax rates of the 400 richest families and in the bottom 50% of U.S. households. So this whole thing is, I mean, uh, we're doing we're doing the whole like outliers versus like the bell curve type of comparison. I mean, I would like to not compare outliers to the norm, but unfortunately, I have to live in reality, and I have to because those peoples exist. All right, so I acknowledge it's an outlier thing versus a most chunky part of the bell curve, and we're like comparing these two. So I understand that. Bottom 50%. Bottom 50%. It's not even. It's like the top 100, top 400. I was gonna say top 100. Top 400 versus bottom 50%. Less taxes. I mean, in the beginning, I mean, 1960. I mean, it starts high. You know, if you're making a lot of money, you got to pay a lot of tax. Okay, but like over the course of time, as time goes on, we go less and less. Spiked up, went back down. Oh, and like, oh, this is big money making time. Less taxes. Okay. And now we're here, and it kind of went up a little bit, and like, oh, everybody's worried. Oh, it went up a little bit, and now here we are in like 2018 or 1980, 1990, right here. It like kind of went up, and then it went down, and when it went up, it's okay. Oh my God, we can't be taxing us again. This guys, this is too much. And then it goes back down. Everyone's chilling again. And then it goes up, and then it, kind of trends down. It's like, okay, well, we're at 30%. We're swimming in it, guys. It can't get any better than this. And then, continues 2000s, 2010s. We're down here like damn near under 30%. And it's like, and then it spikes back up like, oh God. And then it went back down. And this is, where the chart stops at 2018. And then 2019, 2020, 2021, the thing happened and everybody was like pissed for a good bit and weird. But I mean, if this is where the chart stops, this is where the chart stops. But then we look at the bottom 50% and it's just like slowly tax them kind of more. I mean, at the end of the day, you're still chilling somewhere between 20 and 30%. It was kind of trending up. And then we spotted the trend right around here, a little before 2000. And then it's like, okay, Jesus, what are we doing? We got to change this shit. And then, okay, it was like at 25, and then it goes up a little bit, and then it goes back down. And then it's like petering off. It's chilling at about 25-ish%, about right there.
Every year, the percentage of their wealth that goes towards the tax burden has followed the complete opposite trend. Since the 1970s, the rates of corporate income tax have completely cratered, and the rate.
Oh, decline taxation of rich individuals and corporations. What did he say? Income tax? Corporate income tax. Trending down. What is this? The green dot. Top personal income tax rate. It's been going down. Corporate income tax rate. That's been going down. Top inheritance tax rate. Ooh, very interesting. Inheritance tax rate. That means somebody in my family died and then got a tax, get smacked with the tax, inheritance tax. Bang. It's like, oh, that's been going down. Started like a little less than 40% and then just been trending down. And now it's about 20%. That does seem kind of silly when you talk about normal people. But then when it comes to people with billions of dollars, it kind of makes sense. I don't know why I think like that. I mean, I'm a regular poor person brokey. I'm in the wage cage. So, I mean, obviously, it's like, what the fuck you need like $2 billion for, $4 billion for?
Rates of the top inheritance tax have also completely created. There's a quite an infamous quote by Warren Buffett where he said,
and I've used this illustration before, but I'm paying about the same percentage of my income to the federal government as my secretary.
And he's currently worth like $140 billion. These public services then...
Oh, the only difference is that guy has way more fingers of income for all his businesses than his secretary. Secretary's only getting paid for that job. He is like the guy. He's making money hand over foot. And he just knows how the systems work. Meanwhile, the secretary don't know how the systems work. All about the knowledge, and how you apply it.
See a decline in quality. The decline in quality leads to massive public frustration and distrust of these institutions. I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that like people's...
Wait, so let me see this. Let me see this again.
Quality.
So we got revenue shortfall, decline in public services. So public services, police, fire, ambulance, garbage, electrician, plumber. Well, is that stuff public? I don't know. Public, parks, maintenance, electrician, plumber, construction. I mean, that stuff is kind of private, but like public services. Let me see real quick. What are the main public services? What? Oh God. Are the main public services? Doctor, nurse, lawyer, healthcare, education, infrastructure, public safety, social welfare programs. Okay. So that stuff takes a dive.
Leads to massive public frustration and distrust.
Massive public frustration and distrust. This shit is getting shittier. Why would I trust this place? It's a literal coin flip on whether or not you could move. I mean, yeah, you can't. Like, everybody can just, like, walk somewhere or whatever, but, like, you need a car to take all your shit. If you even have shit. You're just going to pile it all in there and, like, just dip out or whatever?
Of these institutions. I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that, like, people's level of faith in institutions has been falling, in public services has been falling. Yeah, instead of addressing them honestly, the solutions that we see given are often incredibly dishonest.
Political
because
dishonesty.
Those people who benefit from the shortfall in revenue are also those people who have an outsized influence on the political system, right? And
yeah, political dishonesty. Like, where's the ledger? Where's the budget? Let me see that shit. Let me see every little line item you guys are spending money on. Let me see all the streams of income you are getting money from. For pick your favorite city or town or whatever. I mean, I'm in this city. I want to know what you guys are spending your money on. All right, that seems pretty simple.
The way this feedback loop ends is that the public services that are declining eventually collapse, and upon collapsing, they increase the relative strain on everything else. When the healthcare system starts to collapse, the strain on emergency services starts to increase.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. And there are a lot of idiots that are using and abusing this. Don't ask me how I know. I know. You would be appalled. Okay, whatever.
When the education system begins to collapse, the strain on healthcare begins to increase. Public services are like a disproportionately large
Okay, so wait.
increase. When the education system begins to collapse, the strain on healthcare begins to increase.
Okay, when education goes down, strain on healthcare goes up. So it's more bullshit. Okay, because people are more stupid and more retarded. All right. I get it.
Public services are like a disproportionately large part of the income of the less wealthy, unsurprisingly. And it's something that doesn't show up on like annual income statistics. So two countries that have, the same level of average income can have vastly different levels of quality of life based on how good the public services are.
That's crazy.
The Canadian Union of Public Employees estimated that
the study found that the benefits of public services averaged $12,500 per person in 2018.
Of public services averaged around $12,500 per person. And you can imagine what $12,500 represents to someone who is on minimum wage compared to someone who
that's a lot of money
a year. And if you just go directly to the horse's mouth and you ask people who work in public services what the biggest issue is, they will always say that it's a revenue shortfall. It doesn't matter whether we're looking at the UK, the US, or Canada. Public services are increasingly screaming out from the inside that they need more funding.
Yep. Because the big city doesn't want to pay anything towards the workers or get the good equipment to get the job done in a timely manner. They want you to do the job like with like using like a fucking trying to like tighten a bolt with a hammer. All right, that's what they want you to do. That's the vibe for public service type jobs, okay? It's horrible. Oh, look, this new tool came out that makes my job easier. We're not buying it. Your wrench that you've had for like 20, 30 years, I mean, yeah, it's still usable, like objectively, but like I could like just get it done in like a second. And that's just like an example. All right, there's a ton of other things. That's just the vibe of it. And then, we got to do a pay study to figure out if we're paying you enough. Oh, because we haven't increased your pay in months, years, God forbid. Oh, pay study equal bad. Pay study equal, at the end of it, we're going to end up paying more money.
In the UK, the real terms pay of doctors has declined by over 25% since 2008. In the US, the National Institute of Standards and Technology is currently working out of offices that are quite literally falling apart. And
the agency is tasked with, let me read this. Agency is tasked with keeping AI safe. Its offices are crumbling.
Standards and Technology is currently working out of
Department of Commerce.
Offices that are quite literally falling apart. And in Canada, public service workers are leading the uptick in strikes. It's at least
doctors' pay in England has declined by 25% since 2008. Jesus. This agency is tasked with keeping AI safe. Its offices are crumbling. Public sector workers are leading a big uptick in strikes in Canada. Like everybody was like, oh, if I'm going to go to school, I'm going to either be a doctor or a lawyer. And now, if I'm trying to go to school, and it's like, at least in England, I'm seeing this. you paying doctors less? Or the rate of pay isn't going up as fast as it used to? Like, it'll be a graph that's looking like this. Where'd the damn paint? Bop. It's like, that's the graph. And it'll be like, whoa, it's starting to like taper off. Like, cause up here, it's like, ooh, up arrow. Ooh, up arrow. Ooh, up arrow. Now it's just like, baby up arrow. Baby up arrow. Baby up arrow. And like right here, it's just like, it's flat. Like, fuck that, dude. Being a doctor is like super stressful. For that many years of your life, you're just like throwing away to school. Holy shit. That's crazy. You literally throw your 20s away.
Pretty clear that they're not receiving the funding they need to operate. I wanted to give you like a concrete example of what happens when a public service ends up in this loop and the solutions that are proposed are increasingly dishonest. And I think a good example is one that isn't talked about enough. It's Social Security in the US.
Oh.
So Social Security, if you're not American, is the US's state pension and disability benefit as well. It helps something like close to 70 million people a year. And
yeah.
The way it works is that the current batch of workers, pay a portion of their salary into the Social Security fund, and that fund is used to pay out the current retirees. In the event that there's actually an excess of money, that there's a surplus, they can redirect it to other government programs. Unfortunately,
surplus? How about it just sits there? Like, I need to know, and this is where I am like completely uneducated. It's like, you're doing what with the surplus money? You're doing it to fund other bullshit?
Fortunately, they've not really had a surplus since 2020. Since then, it's actually been running out of money. And
we're running out of money? What happened to all that other bullshit that you were doing whenever there was a surplus? Huh? Could really use that money back.
The US government is pretty open about the fact that it's going to run out of money in 2034 unless it gets completely reformed. The lack of funding is leading to obviously open distrust. The Social Security...
What year is it? 2034. Okay. Let's do some 2034 minus 2025 in 9 years. Wow, sucks to be me. Sucks to suck.
Security benefits, for example, only increased by 2.5% in 2025, which, if you have been subject to the current environment, is probably not enough for you. And the solutions that have been offered have been quite dishonest. A senator, Mike Lee, suggests that the thing that's gone wrong is that Social Security wasn't invested into the stock market. And his argument is that this is...
Social Security wasn't or was invested in the stock market. Wait, okay, so of all the deceptive sales techniques in the U.S. government, the U.S. government has used in the American people, one of them, the Social Security Act, gets far too little attention. Buckle up because it's a wild ride.
The thing that's gone wrong is that Social Security wasn't invested into the stock market.
Social Security was not invested in the stock market. And the returns, ? Forget about compound interest or stock market gains. Your investment in Social Security can give you a return lower than inflation.
And his argument is that this isn't just about retirement, it's about independence and controlling your own destiny. And that with Social Security, you control nothing. The US stock market is held up by a fraction of tech companies, the Magnificent Seven. The
Magnificent Seven, Jesus. That's crazy. Apple is massive. Holy shit. Like, I don't have any Apple products, but like, bro, I was trying to watch like an Apple like commercial on like YouTube because it's just like new and popped off or whatever. They don't even let you comment on the Apple YouTube channel or whatever. There's no comments. The YouTube algorithm not only picks up the songs in Apple, and they just simply will not let you like put your video out, and they will also even if you like mute the entire video, it'll also just pick up on the visuals and just be like, nope, this is Apple. Nope. Can't comment, can't criticize on anything Apple. Sorry, sucks to suck.
Companies make up basically the entire stock market.
Jesus.
To put people's retirements into the stock market is to basically donate it to, Nvidia, Tesla, Apple, Amazon.
Dang, that's crazy. I gotta get my financial guy to like, hey, are you watching Fad's video? Well, put all the money in there.
Microsoft. However, if we try to look at some more honest reasons why US retirees are literally running out of money, you come on to some more sensible answers quite quickly. The way a typical progressive tax would work is the more you earn, the more you pay into the pot, right?
Rising income leads to paying a higher percentage of income in tax. Okay, we got that chart, that graph, like the diminishing returns one.
Someone who earns $1 million pays more into the pot than someone who earns $20,000 a year. Social Security is completely different. They actually have a cap, right? So once you earn more than $168,000 a year, you don't have to pay any more into the fund. This is like a really big problem because it means that a person who earns $20 million a year contributes the same amount as a person who earns $200,000 a year. A CEO contributes the same amount as like a doctor, around $11,000. By the way, this cap here covers 94% of people. So for 94% of the population, Social Security basically just functions like a normal tax. If they earn more money, they're going to be taxed on it. For those who make millions and millions a year and who, for example, make their money from
Okay, so since there's a cap on it, it stops all the rich people from paying more into it. So if the cap was removed or other increments were put up into place, going with like that same chart or whatever, all the rich people would be fucked. Because it's like, oh, I gotta pay more. Get off my lawn. No. I get it now.
Investments, they are not subject to Social Security. This would be by far the easiest way to fill the shortfall because this is...
Oh, wait, let me read. This system creates significant disparity in contribution rates. A CEO earning $20 million annually pays Social Security taxes on only about 1% of their income. Oh, wow. In contrast, workers earning below the cap pay Social Security taxes on 100% of their income. Oh, wow. What a good system. Bro, I could have seen this shit like from a video game. I could have played PoE for like a couple seasons and look at this system and realize, oh, well, that's a loophole right there. Just be a CEO and make more than 20 million. And then you just keep more of your money. So then what's the incentive for Mr. CEO? Crank out more dog shit products that people will just buy, mindlessly buy. Yep, that's the loophole.
Easiest way to fill the shortfall because this is very unpalatable for people who earn significantly above the cap. It's far better for a senator, a person like Mike Lee, to simply suggest that the thing that's gone wrong is that the Social Security fund wasn't put into the stock market. But, that's like a really specific point, right? I think we can look a bit more broadly and look at what happens kind of on a more national scale when institutions...
So he's like diverting the attention away from the obvious elephant in the room of, yeah, there's a cap. And since there's a cap, everybody that's making more than 20 million, we benefit from it.
begin to collapse and distrust begins to rise because
there's the distrust that you just mentioned. Yep,
there are plenty of countries that already have really high levels of inequality. My favorite example, I think, is Mexico. It's one of the most unequal countries.
I have never seen the Mexican like logo. Like, is this new or is this made up? It's actually like really detailed for a flag.
Countries in Latin America, and there's a saying in Mexican Spanish which you may well agree or disagree with: "El que no tranza no avanza," and it basically translates to "He who doesn't cheat doesn't get ahead."
True. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, brother.
And it's not like the people of Mexico are particularly predisposed to cheating public institutions, but rather the inequality levels have gotten so high that the incentive structures are completely thrown out of whack. And everyone has realized that their limited resources are less useful.
So what is the incentive going off of this? You should do everything in your power to cheat at everything in life Just don't get caught, or else you'll get got.
They're put towards the public good. Instead, it makes a lot more sense to favor nepotism and corruption, even on an individual level, to the point where they have a saying for it. I was even able to find one survey which asked Mexican businessmen and entrepreneurs whether they agreed with the quote, right? El que no tranza no avanza.
38% of businessmen agree with the phrase, those who don't make deals don't get ahead. Okay, this isn't like a direct, but it's like, he who cheats versus he who don't, those who don't make deals don't get ahead. Believe, and then 64, I mean, that's not like a direct translation. There's like, I think there's a little bit of difference between like make a deal, because I think a deal implies some sort of equal exchange, whereas in cheating implies some sort of unequal or unequal exchange. So I mean, it's whatever. 64% believe that to advance in government you have to be corrupt and very corrupt. Wow. Yeah. Yep, they'd be spot on for that.
And 38% of businessmen openly admitted to agreeing with it, with 64% of the people they asked. So
like, what? Everyone's just gonna sit on the sidelines and be like, yeah, the guys at the top, they're just staying at the top. At 64%, you have to be a corrupt person, blah blah blah. And if you think you're gonna be like an outlier snowflake, you're gonna be like Honest Abe or somebody, and you're gonna get into like the head president spot to make a difference. It's like you're also batshit crazy. Like none of this shit is gonna change. I don't see this shit changing at all.
Believing that to advance in government, you have to be very corrupt. Inequality and corruption kind of go hand in hand. And as inequality rises, corruption and nepotism become increasingly the sensible option to pick and doing, the right thing in quotes.
Gotta have that nepotism. That's why Elon Musk has like 20-something kids. That's why all the billionaires have like double-digit amount of kids. Gotta keep it in the family. All right? Gotta keep it in the family. And then what happens? There's like another piece to that little circle. Maybe he will bring it up again. There's another piece to the circle. Let me see. I mean, whatever. What you have now is like the added piece to the circle is that everybody that isn't in the club, for the most part, everybody, well, not everybody, but there's a lot of people that are simply just choosing to not have kids. That's what you get. If I don't got enough money to like benefit myself, if I don't got enough money to benefit my significant other, if I don't got enough money for my kids, or all these things that were in the circle are just simply out of whack, they don't help me in any way, shape, or form, why would I even start a family? That's the most retarded thing I've ever heard. That is so pointless. That is nothing but stress in your life. Despite what the movie Idiocracy says, like, oh, all the smart rich people are not having kids, but all the dumb stupid people are having like 30 kids. It's like, no, actually, it's the reverse. If I want to keep all my money and my legacy, I gotta keep it in the family.
Becomes almost stupid at a certain level. It's not like the Mexican people are particularly predisposed to cheating. It's just that's what's...
No, it's the haves versus the have-nots. That's what it was, that's what it is, that's what it will always be. The people that have versus the people that don't have. This is not like a racial thing or a nationality thing. That's the most retarded bullshit I've ever heard.
Been rewarded more and more, right? And I think this specifically, this sentiment is becoming increasingly visible in other countries that are having rising inequality. I'm sure all of you know at least, one person or know someone who knows someone who's been either scammed. Oh
yeah, this is the rug pull kid. This like little 14-year-old kid or something. He made like a meme coin, and he got, I don't know how, got people to buy into it, and then he rug pulled it and made like He made like what, like 20, 30K or something. This is a child. How on earth are you putting money into a meme coin made by this guy? What are you guys doing?
Or who relies on scamming as a way to make a living. In the UK, fraudsters are stealing more than 3 million a day. In the US,
Fraudsters steal more than 3 million a day as case rises. Nearly 80 million US consumers lost money to scams in the last 5 years. They didn't say how much money. It's just nearly 80 million people lost money in scams.
nearly 80 million people lost money to scams in the last 5 years. And I think,
I mean, and then we could also examine what the definition of a scam is, because, you know, it could easily be misconstrued either a little harder or a little lighter.
it's silly to say that people are just more evil now, more criminal. It makes a lot more sense for it to simply be a matter of incentive structures, where choosing the criminal path actually just makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
In these super high inequality countries, we see some pretty stark divisions. Like if you've ever visited sub-Saharan Africa, somewhere like India, Brazil, or Mexico, you've likely seen how a country under really high levels of inequality can basically split into two countries, where the slums house the masses.
Whoa. What country is this, dude? It's literally separated by the mountain. What do they call this little hill right here? Is this like Poor People Hill? Like the poor people are going up the hill. And it's like, oh, do we cut some more trees down and build another house? And then all these guys are going to be like, I could see them coming over the hill. They're building houses on top. But they don't got enough room on that side. They got to come in onto our side.
And the elite live not very far from them, but in completely different lives.
Oh yeah, and the weird part is these guys are, so like in a conversation with like people out in public, you got like your friends or whatever, there's like everybody generally forms like a circle or something, or they all sit at a table and whatnot, and everyone's talking and bullshit, and you talk to the guy on the left, talk to the guy on the right, maybe talk to the guy on the other side, whatever. Everyone's conversing, but there will always be that one person that wants to be a part of the conversation, that they want to be a part of it, but they don't want to contribute to it. They just want to feel like they're in society, okay? That person is right here. They want to feel like they're a part of society without actually having to be a part of society. That's what's going on.
And the elite live not very far from them, but in completely different lives. And this is really the end game of inequality, right? It pushes you all the way back to a system that looks almost feudal. It has this knock-on effect where it becomes increasingly difficult for someone that's born in the lower social classes to move up the ladder. When you get to super high levels of inequality, it doesn't just become a problem day to day, but it becomes a problem that is like entrenched. What this graph tells us here is how many generations it takes for someone who's born in poverty to reach the average income in that country.
Holy shit. Income mobility across generations. Number of generations it would take for those born in low-income family to approach the mean. 2 generations to reach the mean? 3 generations? 5? What? Bro, I'm like Gen 1. Or not, like, so what's a generation? Like your mom and your dad is 1, and then when they have a kid, that's Gen 2? I mean, if that's the case, then I'm like 2. Bro, I fucking spawned in too early. What the fuck? I hate this. That's fucking bullshit. Brazil, it's 9. South Africa, 9. Holy flying fuck.
In relatively low inequality countries like Denmark and Sweden, Norway and Finland, you can see that it takes about 2 to 3 generations. In much higher inequality countries like the US, it takes 5 generations. And in super high inequality countries like Brazil and South Africa, you can see that it can take on average 9 generations.
Bro, we're catching up. We're literally catching up to Brazil and South Africa. We're 4 generations away. We're over halfway there. We need to add a couple more generations, and then we'll be there. And then it'll be like, well, why is U.S. the mobility one of the richest countries in the world? Why is mobility 9 on U.S. but also like Brazil and South Africa? Why is that also 9? Aren't they some of like the countries that are like worse off? Or maybe I'm just like unknowing. Why?
Brazil and South Africa, you can see that it can take on average 9 generations to move from being in poverty to reaching the average income in your country. As inequality rises, it becomes more and more entrenched, and simply like the birth lottery becomes disproportionately important. But
the birth lottery. Yep. What did I say? You got to keep it in the family. Yep. As soon as you win the lottery, like the actual lotto, then you can have kids. Because then you can make that chunk of money like accumulate. If you don't got like a big lump sum to like grow or some bullshit, I mean, good luck. You want to bring in another person to pass that shit onto?
But it's not just that inequality can't exist, because Denmark, Finland, Norway, and Sweden all have some degree of inequality, but have been able to compensate with strong public services, because public services represent a disproportionate amount of income for the poor than they do for the wealthy. And can actually give them that springboard. And what I find interesting is that like people in general globally favor some kind of change to their economic system.
Most people, I mean, no shit, most people are like at or below means. No shit, most people globally favor significant changes to their economic system. No shit. But who are the people that control the economic system? The people that are all the way at the tippy top of the graph. Do you think they're going to change the system just so Mr. Wage Cage can get, like, come on up? No. They're not changing it. I mean, yeah, I would say that, like, yeah, with your vote for your favorite person, you could put your favorite person into the right spot in office to change the economic system in order to help you. I mean, yeah, that's nice to say and would be ideal, but like, that is not what was going to happen. Nope, that's not happening.
System, right? Even in the US, 2/3 of people.
Complete reform. Yep. Major changes. So either way, it's like change. Just change something, either complete or major. This is hilarious. 58%. Almost 60% in Canada. Fix this shit. 87, almost 90% of people in Greece. Change this shit. 81%. Change this shit. Change this shit. This is horrible. Damn, dude. And it's what's funny is that the 66, almost 70% of people, like this is starting to cut into like half the people. Understandably, most again, it's it's a survey. What's like, how did you take all the people? There's 3 types of lies in life. There's lies, damned lies, and statistics.
People want major change. But because we've ended up in this loop where the solutions that are offered are increasingly dishonest and are offered by people who benefit from things not changing much from how they are now, all of this energy has been kind of redirected away from what those people within the public services are telling us they need, right?
Oh boy, this is a good one for fads. 100%, dude.
In breaking news,
get out of here, Disney.
Of a report that's been published.
Yep, pause that shit. Yeah, this is another good one from fads. Yep. I mean, wealth inequality. I think this topic will it will always be like relevant, whether or not the topic of wealth inequality becomes more of a spotlight is going to sadly depend on the algorithm of your favorite social media, because who also controls like all the social medias, all the tippy top 1% of 1% of a tenth of a percent type of people. If all of a sudden in the algorithm there's a bunch of wealth inequality content being made, it's like, just suppress that shit. Okay, it's like, yeah, that's what they're gonna do. But it's still relevant. Uh, but other than that, that's it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.